In a small, noisy town, at the corner of an alley lit by flickering streetlights, a little boy, Samuel, stood with his old guitar. His fingers, although still those of a child, displayed a skill that impressed passers-by. At his feet, a small open box contained a few coins thrown by strangers touched by his melody. Next to him, his little sister, Leah, barely 5 years old, always remained by his side, her big eyes shining with curiosity and innocence, despite the harsh realities of their lives. Recently orphaned, Samuel had to grow up quickly. After the tragic loss of their parents in an accident, he had no choice but to take care of his sister. They had been left to their own devices, without family to take them in, without a home. The guitar, an old memory of their musician father, had become their only hope. Every day after school, Samuel would place Leah on a bench while he played. The music, soft and melancholy, reflected the pain of their situation, but also the infinite love he had for her. The street had become their scene, and people in the neighborhood were beginning to recognize these two tired but determined little faces. Some stopped to listen. Others gave a coin or a piece of bread. Despite everything, Samuel never lost sight of his goal: to survive, protect Leah, and dream of a better future. But the streets were unforgiving, and each day brought new challenges. Samuel and Leah returned that evening, exhausted, to the small room they called home. It was just an old abandoned place, barely lit by a flickering bulb, whose walls were cold and damp. The heavy silence of the place was broken only by the raindrops crashing against the window. Leah, exhausted, quickly fell asleep on the shabby mattress, hugging the holy blanket against her which failed to completely warm her. Samuel sat next to her, watching her sleep with tenderness mixed with sadness. He ran a hand through his messy hair, then stood up and walked towards the corner of the room where they had set up a small altar, a makeshift place of prayer. He knelt with his hands clasped and bowed his head. He closed his eyes and, with a trembling voice, began a prayer that he murmured every evening. Lord, I entrust to you those who are with child. Watch over them. Do not let them go too soon. Do not let their children wander in this cold world, like Leah and me. May their little ones grow up with a mother and a father to love and protect them, so as not to end up like me, Lord. Her tears began to flow, silent at first, then more abundant. I am alone, Lord, alone to watch over Leah. I work from morning to evening, sometimes without eating. I only wash once every 2 days. I have no nice clothes, no shoes to protect me from the cold, no friends to play with, no parents to love me, just me. He stopped, overwhelmed by his emotions. The sobs burst forth suddenly, uncontrollably. Her little body trembled under the weight of fatigue, sorrow, and the burden too heavy for her young shoulders. He cried for a long time, releasing the pain he had kept buried for too long. After what seemed like an eternity, Samuel looked up at the sky, his eyes red and swollen. He concludes in a broken voice, May your will for my life be done, Lord. Even if I do not understand why, protect Leah. Amen. Silence fell again in the room. Samuel knelt for a moment, staring at the ground. Then he wiped his tears with the back of his hand and went to lie down next to his sister. Despite the hunger that gripped his stomach and the pain in his hands worn by the strings of the guitar, he let sleep take him away, taking with him his prayers and his hopes for a better future. The next morning, the sun struggled to break through the gray clouds, but Samuel and Leah were already outside, ready for a new day. Hunger still gripped them, but the hope of earning a few coins was enough to give them the strength to move forward. Samuel had heard that a large public square, not far away, attracted more people at the weekend. It was an opportunity for them to play in front of a larger audience and perhaps earn enough money to buy food and save a little money. They crossed several streets, hands clasped together, until they reached the square. As soon as they arrived, Samuel felt the difference. The square was teeming with people, street vendors, busy passers-by, and even tourists who came to visit the city. Samuel looked for a corner where they could land without obstructing the passage. He quickly set up his guitar, took out the little battered metal box that was used to collect the money, and placed Leah on a bench beside him. He gently strummed the strings of his guitar, tuning the instrument from memory, his fingers running over the strings with ease despite their wear. The first notes rang out, a soft, melancholy tune floating in the air. At that moment, Leah, usually silent, stood up and, shyly, began to sing. Her voice, pure and crystalline, contrasted with her young age. It was a voice that vibrated with emotion, and which seemed to carry within it all the pain and hope they shared. People passing by began to slow down, their eyes drawn to this little girl who was singing with such passion. Some stopped to listen, fascinated by the combination of Samuel's guitar and Leah's angelic voice. Little by little, pieces fell into the box. Leah, seeing this, continued to sing with even more force, with her eyes closed, as if she were letting herself be carried away by the music. Samuel, for his part, played tirelessly, fighting against fatigue and hunger. They needed this money not just to eat today, but to save a little in the hope of a more stable life. Time seemed to pass more slowly as the crowd around them grew. Some people even came up to congratulate them, touched by their talent and their story. An old gentleman came forward, placed a few notes in the box, and crouched down at Samuel's level. "You have a gift, my boy," he said in a soft voice. "Keep playing. Music will take you far, I'm sure." Samuel nodded gratefully, but didn't stop playing. He glanced at Leah, who continued to sing, a shy smile on her lips. For the first time in a long time, he felt proud, not just of himself, but of their survival together. They may have had no family, no proper home, but they had each other, and that was enough to keep them moving forward. That day, they managed to earn enough to feed themselves properly and even keep a few coins in reserve. On the way home, despite his fatigue, Samuel took Leah's hand, squeezing it tightly. "One day, Leah, we will have a real house," he whispered. "And you'll be able to sing on a big stage, I promise." Leah, her eyes shining, nodded, firmly believing in this shared dream. The weeks passed, and Samuel and Leah continued to play every day in the same public square. Their routine was well practiced. Samuel's guitar attracted the first glances, and Leah's angelic voice captured the attention of passers-by. Little by little, people in the neighborhood knew them by their first name, and some even brought them food or clothes. Thanks to their perseverance, they managed to survive, but Samuel's dream always remained the same, to offer Leah a better life. One morning, while they were seated in their usual place, Samuel overheard passers-by discussing an important event, a competition organized by the National School of Arts. This competition, open to all talents in the country, offered the possibility of winning a scholarship and a chance to perform in front of a jury of professionals. It was a unique opportunity, a springboard for little-known artists. Intrigued, Samuel listened and learned that registrations were open to everyone, with no age limit. His heart raced. This news came as a blessing. Maybe this was finally their chance. He turned to Leah, who was observing the passers-by with a dreamy air. "Leah, I heard about a competition at the National School of the Arts," he said softly, his eyes bright with excitement. "They're looking for talent from all over the country. If we enter, who knows, maybe we could win." Leah looked up at him, surprised. "But do you think we could do it?" Samuel nodded determinedly. "We sing and play every day here, and people love what we do. If we can touch them with our music, we can touch anyone." Without further hesitation, they decided to try their luck. That evening, Samuel went to the place where the registrations were taking place. He lined up with dozens of other candidates, some younger, some older, all driven by the same dream. As he wrote down their names, Samuel felt a wave of hope and nervousness wash over him. They now had a new reason to get up every morning, a new goal. The following days were intense. Samuel and Leah rehearsed tirelessly, refining each note, each word. For Leah, it was the first time that she became aware of what their talent could really bring them. She sang more and more confidently, letting herself be carried away by the music, while Samuel, although exhausted, felt that it was all worth it. The day of the competition finally arrived. They appeared in front of the National School of Arts, impressed by the immense building. Samuel shook Leah's hand, both nervous but determined. In the large room, Dozens of other participants were waiting their turn, some with instruments, others ready to dance or sing. The atmosphere was full of both excitement and apprehension. When their name was called, Samuel felt his heart race. They took the stage together under the watchful eyes of the jury, made up of renowned musicians, professors, and influential figures in the art world. Silence fell in the room. Samuel adjusted his guitar and began to gently strum the first notes of a melody he had composed especially for the occasion. The first notes, melodious and delicate, rang through the air, immediately capturing the attention of the audience. Then, in a soft but powerful voice, Leah began to sing. His voice, pure and full of emotion, transported the room into a story of struggle and survival. Every word she sang seemed to come from the depths of her soul, and the complicity between her and Samuel made the performance even more moving. Their music told the story of their lives, their pain and their hope, and this sincerity touched everyone. The members of the jury remained impassive, but their eyes betrayed their surprise and admiration. No one expected such emotional intensity coming from two children. Leah, with her eyes closed, sang as if it was the last time she would do so, while Samuel, concentrated, played each note with precision, guided by his desire to give his all. When the last note of Samuel's guitar sounded, a heavy silence fell over the room, followed by thunderous applause. Samuel and Leah, out of breath but happy, exchanged a knowing look. They had succeeded in getting their message across in touching hearts. The jury leaned forward to chat briefly among themselves. Then one of the members, a man with a stern but kind face, spoke. "Samuel, Leah, you delivered a magnificent performance. You showed great maturity and rare sincerity in your art. I think I speak on behalf of everyone here when I say that you have exceptional talent, a talent that deserves to be developed." Samuel, out of breath, squeezed his sister's hand, feeling the tension ease a little. He did not yet dare to hope, but the enthusiasm in the jury's voice suggested a glimmer of hope. "We have a lot of candidates to see today," the juror continued. "But rest assured that you have made a strong impression. We will keep you informed of what happens next." With a grateful smile, Samuel and Leah left the stage to warm applause from the audience. They had done their best, and for the first time in a long time, Samuel felt proud, not only of himself, but also of Leah. Their unbreakable bond had carried them this far, and no matter the outcome, they knew they had already gained something precious, recognition and hope for a better future. After several hours of waiting, the performances followed one another, each bringing a unique touch to the stage. The competition was intense, and Samuel and Leah, seated in a corner of the large room, watched with admiration, but also a touch of concern. Faced with so much talent, they wondered if they really had a chance. The long-awaited moment of the final result arrived. The participants were invited to return to the stage, their hearts beating wildly. The jury, after deliberating at length, moved forward. The head of the jury, a man with a stern but kind face, took the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "I would like to congratulate each artist for their talent and commitment. This competition was marked by exceptional performances, and the decision was not easy." A heavy silence settled in the room, each candidate holding their breath. "We will now announce the first three places." In third place, with an incredible contemporary dance performance, Anya and Mark. Applause rang out as the two young dancers took the stage to receive their awards. Samuel felt his hand tremble slightly, squeezing Leah's to reassure himself. The decisive moment was approaching. In second place, continued the juror, with a touching and emotional musical performance, Nina Morrow. Another round of applause as the young singer received her prize. Samuel and Leah exchanged a look. There was only one place left to announce. And finally, announced the head of the jury with a smile. "The first prize goes to two young artists who have captured the soul of music with rare sincerity and depth. Ladies and gentlemen, the winners of this edition are Samuel and Leah." Their names echoed through the room, and for a second they stood frozen in disbelief. Then, a wave of emotion overwhelmed them. Samuel and Leah burst into joy, hugging each other to the warm applause of the audience. They went on stage, trembling with emotion, to receive their trophy and an envelope containing a full scholarship to study at the National School of the Arts. The head of the jury congratulated them in person. "Your talent is undeniable. You have a bright future ahead of you, and this competition is only the beginning." Samuel, his eyes still shining with tears, shook Leah's hand. They had won against all odds. Their dream had just taken a decisive turn. After their resounding victory, the lives of Samuel and Leah took an incredible turn. Their performance not only won over the jury, but also attracted the attention of several large companies. In a few weeks, contracts to compose advertising music poured in from prestigious brands, from luxury houses to technology companies. Every project they carried out was a phenomenal success. Their compositions became essential, played in advertising spots around the world. Little by little, Samuel and Leah saw their bank account grow spectacularly. In less than a year, they had become millionaires, far beyond what they could have imagined. One evening, after signing a contract with a large multinational, Samuel and Leah decided to celebrate this accomplishment by taking a big step forward. They bought a sumptuous house. Perched on a hill with panoramic views, it was spacious, bright, and equipped with a state-of-the-art music studio. It was more than a house, it was their new home, the symbol of a new era in their lives. However, despite their dazzling success, they remained humble. Each morning, before starting their day, they took a moment to pray together, thanking God for His blessings and for the strength He had given them. They knew that everything they had accomplished was not only the result of their work, but also of the faith that had guided them every step of the way. Their routines certainly changed, but they never abandoned their studies at the National School of Arts. They continued to improve, always eager to learn and grow in their art. Each new contract was an opportunity to experiment, to create even deeper melodies, and their passion for music continued to grow. Over time, they were also able to give back to those in need. They began to fund scholarships for young artists from modest backgrounds, just as they had been. They knew that without the faith, perseverance, and opportunities they had been given, they would never have gotten this far. One evening, while they were sitting on the terrace of their new house, Leah turned to Samuel with a peaceful smile. "Do you realize how much our lives have changed?" Samuel nodded, looking up at the stars. "Yes, but what matters most is that we have never forgotten where we came from. And as long as God is with us, nothing can stop us." Their success was dazzling, their future bright, but Samuel and Leah knew that the real treasure lay in their faith, their humility, and their unwavering bond. They had endured hardships, won against all odds, and transformed their lives forever. But at every step, they never stopped praying, remembering God, and keeping their feet on the ground. Their story now inspires millions of young people around the world, proving that anything is possible with talent, hard work, and unwavering faith. The story of Samuel and Leah is much more than just a success story. He is the powerful example of faith, hard work, and perseverance in the face of life's challenges. After winning a prestigious competition, these two young artists, who came from nothing, were able to transform their passion for music into an incredible career. Thanks to their talent, they received contracts from major brands, becoming millionaires while remaining true to their values and their faith in God. Their meteoric rise has never strayed from their roots. Each success was for them a new opportunity to thank God and give back to those who, like them, dream of making their voices heard. What makes Samuel and Leah strong is not only their wealth or their fame, but their humility, their generosity, and their gratitude for the blessings received. The story of Samuel and Leah reminds us that no matter the obstacles, with work, determination, and faith, anything is possible. It is a timeless lesson which resonates in our own lives and in the stories of those who, like them, have been able to transform their destiny. Never forget that, even in the face of the greatest challenges, sometimes you just need to believe in yourself and maintain hope for life to change forever.